they win, you lose. Let's talk about it.
Denied.
This is the Hey Ed YouTube channel. I am your host, moderator, and all-around nice guy, Edward Anderson. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't construe anything that I mention in any of my videos as financial advice. Always do your own research before doing anything with your money. Today, we're going to be talking about the banking system some more. There's something that I want you to know about. So with the recent development, it's obvious that our traditional financial system here in America, and I think in most Western countries throughout the world, have been socialized. This is no longer a capitalist system. Capitalism is virtually dead. Now, in a second here, I'm going to show you a video of Janet Yellen giving testimony last week in front of Congress, and it should send shivers up your spine and should really make you angry. In this testimony, she essentially tells us that there is a two-tiered system, one for their friends and one for everyone else. Now, when SVB Bank and Signature Bank went under, the government decided to make all of the depositors whole again, okay? Now, the FDIC insurance has a limit of $250,000 per account, but they decided to make everybody whole regardless of how much money they had in their account. So they're changing the rules. They're incentivizing bad behavior. If these bankers know that there are no consequences in making bad decisions, making bad investments, then they're going to feel free to continue making bad investments. Now, personally, I am a capitalist. I believe that there should be consequences in making bad business decisions. If you make a bad business decision, you should suffer the consequences. You shouldn't have to rely on the rest of us to bail you out. Now, of course, Janet Yellen and Jerome Powell will tell you these are not bailouts. Of course, they're bailouts. Hey, if it walks like a duck and squawks like a duck. Now, I know that on YouTube, the attention span is pretty small, so it's like 1 minute long. But I'm going to ask you, take 5 minutes to listen to this clip. And I got to tell you, this congressman, Mr. Lankford out of Oklahoma, he's my new hero. So listen to this exchange.
Will the deposits in every community bank in Oklahoma, regardless of their size, be fully insured now? Are they fully recovered? Every bank, every community bank in Oklahoma, regardless of the size of the deposit, will they get the same treatment that SVB just got or Signature Bank just got?
A bank only gets that treatment if a majority of the FDIC board, a supermajority of the Fed board, and I, in consultation with the president, determine that the failure to protect uninsured depositors would create systemic risk.
Okay, so let's pause for a second there. Did you just hear that? She said, if we determine that the bank is too big to fail, then we'll step up. So they're distinguishing between the big banks and the small banks. Now, this wasn't supposed to happen ever again. I mean, after the 2008 financial crisis, no bank should be considered too big to fail. They assured us that what happened in 2008 will never happen again, that the government is not going to bail out banks anymore, and that theoretically force banks to be more responsible. Well, here we go again. So what's happening now, I promise you, because I've been hearing about it, is people are withdrawing their money from their smaller banks to put it into a larger bank because they feel that they're more likely to be taken care of if the money is in a larger bank. So the smaller banks, you guys are in the crosshairs. You guys are considered second-class citizens in the financial system. All right, so let's watch the rest of it.
And significant economic and financial consequences.
So what is your plan?
We made that determination.
Right. So what is your plan to keep large depositors from moving their funds out of community banks into the big banks? We have seen the mergers of banks over the past decade. I'm concerned you're about to accelerate that by encouraging anyone who has a large deposit in a community bank to say, we're not going to make you whole, but if you go to one of our preferred banks, we will make you whole at that point.
Look, I mean, that's certainly not something that we're encouraging.
That is happening right now.
Can you hear this? She's squirming. She knows what the answer is, and she's too embarrassed to say it out loud because she knows this is not defensible. She's trying really hard to justify this policy, but she can't.
That is happening because depositors are concerned about the bank failures that have happened and whether or not other banks could also
No, it's
fail.
happening
And
because you're
it's-
fully insured no matter what the amount is. If you're in a big bank, you're not fully insured if you're in a community bank.
Well, you're not fully insured. And
You
the
you
big-
were at Signature, and
the
it just barely met that threshold. You were at Signature.
Well, we felt that there was a serious risk of contagion that could have brought down and triggered runs on many banks. And that's something, given that our judgment is that the banking system overall is safe and sound, depositors should have confidence in the system, and we took these actions.
So there's a
to
special
discourage
assessment that's been done
contagion.
on community banks in my state and all banks across the country. Was there any discussion that that special assessment would only apply to the larger banks, or was it always assumed the special assessment would cover every bank, including rural banks in my state?
I think, I'm not certain what the rules are around that. That's for the FDIC to determine.
It has been reported publicly that SVB had a large number of Chinese investors that are there, including some that were companies directly connected to the Chinese Communist Party. Will those individuals, companies, entities, and investors that are Chinese investors be made whole based on assessments in my banks in Oklahoma? So what I'm asking is, will my banks in Oklahoma pay a special assessment to be able to make Chinese investors whole from Silicon Valley Bank?
Uninsured investors will be made whole in that bank, and I suppose that could include foreign depositors, but I don't believe there's any legal basis to discriminate among uninsured.
I get it, but I'm
Depositors.
just saying my community banks are going to pay this additional fee. It is always fascinating to me as well, the conversation that taxpayers are being made whole in this, that taxpayers are not going to have any kind of consequence on this. I'm sure my bankers are going to be very excited to know they no longer pay taxes, and their banks no longer pay taxes. Credit unions don't pay taxes, banks do, and so they're definitely taxpayers as well, and all banks make their revenue off of rates and fees and such to their account holders, which means every Oklahoman will pay higher fees in their community bank.
we're just gonna have to move on.
If we have a collapse of the banking system and its economic consequences, that will have very severe effects on banks in Oklahoma that will also be threatened.
I'm just worried about the
gonna-
long,
we're
I'm just
gonna
worried about
have
the
to-
long-term
We are gonna have to
consequences
move-
on our-
Okay, so I wanted you to watch this testimony so that you don't have to take my word for any of this. There's obviously a pecking order here among people who are the right kinds of banks. It just so happened that SVB Bank had a lot of accounts there held by the Chinese Communist Party, not to mention Gavin Newsom, not to mention a large number of donors to the Democratic Party. I mean, if one of these banks were headquartered in Dallas, Texas, or Miami, Florida, would they have gotten the same treatment? There are a lot of shenanigans going on, and you cannot trust these people. So, in the spirit of keeping this video short, reduce your exposure to your bank, put some of your money into gold and silver, and establish streams of passive recurring income. The first one I can't help you out with, getting money out of your bank, that's on you. The other two, putting some of your money into gold and silver and establishing streams of passive recurring income, I can help you with those. I have programs here that I can refer you to. Watch my other videos, watch my playlists, and of course, shoot me an email and we can talk one-on-one. Ed Anderson, live from Minnesota, signing out.
Copy that.